Good afternoon, good night, good morning, good welcome to another episode of the Trip to Reality podcast by your host Pariah. Today I've got a special guest with me named Kash, who's a good friend of mine with a very inquisitive mind, someone who likes to scratch beneath the surface. And we've got a lovely discussion coming up for everyone. And before we begin, I would just like to reiterate something about the podcast, which is this is a podcast about quest for truth and clarity, about learning how to think for ourselves especially, and not accepting the standard dogma that just so happens to be that which surrounds us in our particular time and place of our existence. This is why it's so important to feed that inquisitiveness, scratch beneath the surface, have a love of wisdom, and the benefits you get from that are numerous. They can't be counted on your fingers. They will improve your life and your decision making and your perception. An important part of that is dialogue. Dialogue with yourself, giving yourself the freedom and the space and the opportunity to think, and allowing that dialogue with other people, which also is beneficial but in a different way. So I myself, as my friends know me and family know me, I don't take things for granted. I always question things that are taken for granted, and I value deep discussion. So the podcast goes through a number of different angles attacking this and trying to achieve these objectives. We extract insights from previous thinkers by reading, consulting the wisdom and the insight of these very intelligent people that had unique things to say about reality, about life, about existence. This will open us up to all sorts of different angles and avenues of understanding for ourselves and for others, new ways of thinking. And we can then assimilate that insight, knowledge, wisdom, whatever you want to call it, practically and also mentally into your life. So with that said, my very special guest and someone who I definitely would like to keep recurring on the show because of his sheer brilliance, wisdom and perceptiveness of insight, when discussing things, when relating things back from his experience, is my friend Kash. So Kash, please introduce yourself.
Hello, my brother. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here, my guy. I've been looking forward to sitting down and having a good conversation with you. I mean, we have good conversation all the time anyway off mic, but I feel like it's going to be exciting to have the public being a part of our conversations and just trying to also open up their mind, broaden their perspective of what reality is and what we perceive things to be. So yeah, my brother, it's a pleasure to be here, man. Let's get things started.
Yeah, definitely, bro. One thing though, this is where people have to understand, is like very new to me. Not the discussion, not talking. I do this talking and discussing all the time, maybe even a bit too much, but doing it on like a podcast platform and making it public and stuff and opening that up to the world is something very new to us. So
it's very new, isn't
yeah,
it?
something you have to accustom yourself to and really get used to, which I'm sure will come with time. It's just like many things, and it's just like going to the gym.
Bro, listen, it's a muscle. Everything's a muscle. You know what I mean? The more you train it, the better it gets, the stronger it gets. So I'm pretty sure this will be the same thing. Because right now I feel like I'm on a stage. Like normally when we sit down and talk and conversate, it just flows as if it's natural. You know what I mean?
Oh, you don't think this is natural, G?
Bro, obviously, listen, if it's natural, but it feels less natural because obviously there's people that's going to be listening to what we're saying. And you know what I'm trying to say? There's critics out there, judgmental minds out there. So it's like, bro, listen, we're letting our walls down right now. We're letting people in. Do you know what I mean? We're letting people into our reality, into our conversations, our private conversations. So it's a bit nerve-wracking. I guess it is a bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Exciting at the same time.
But do you know what? Do you know what it is, bro? Like you just mentioned something there, which made me think of something that I was thinking about yesterday, and I've probably thought about multiple times. Is that naturally, as human beings, we're very self-absorbed.
Very.
Everything that you see, perceive, or feel is relating back to you, what you need, what you want, what you're trying to achieve.
Always.
But that becomes problematic because you don't live alone. You're not the only person in the world. The word for that is solipsistic. You live among other people. You live among a community.
100%.
Yeah, most people do. Not recluses, obviously, but most people live within a community. Therefore, your interests and their interests matter now, not just yours, and they have to be sort of harmonized together.
Mm-hmm.
You have to factor that in when the way you move, think about other people, and it's a very difficult thing to do because you only experience reality or perception from your perspective, not from
100%.
someone else's. But just because you're never going to experience it from their perspective in the way that you experience your perspective, it doesn't mean it's not worth it to use the power of your mind and thinking to try and sympathize
Empathize.
and really put yourself in their position. And when I say that, I don't mean, imagine you were in their shoes. Sometimes imagination is not enough. Sometimes you actually have to go and do something that they do. For example, if you're the CEO of a company, put on the bloody uniform of the worker and spend the day doing the work that the worker does.
Mm-hmm.
These types of practices are extremely valuable because rather than sitting down in your office or at home or in your car, maybe just sparing a second or two, a moment of thought about what someone else's life might be like, you live it or experience it, and that gives you perspective.
Listen,
and not to be so self-absorbed.
That's a very powerful point you just made.
Yeah.
Because out of everything you said, what I really drew from that was perspective.
Perspective, bro.
And I feel like perspective is something, it's kind of lost in our modern world. Do you know what I mean? Everyone is just so self-absorbed. Everyone's just a little king or queen of their own castle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like how it used to be where we used to have to meet up together, have conversations. Nowadays, just call someone for a 5-minute conversation and it's done. In fact, you never got to do that. Just watch their fucking Snapchat. Look at the Instagram story. And that's like the new way of connecting. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like, it creates solitude. And I believe if people actually think and use their minds and connect more, conversate, talk. Because, bro, you see someone walking past you all the time and they might be looking at you and you're thinking, like, why is that person looking at me funny? But you don't know what they're thinking. And 9 times out of 10, you approach that person and say, hello, how are you?
Yeah.
You'd be surprised what they're thinking. They're thinking nothing of the sort compared to what you're thinking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So by having like conversations, talking to people, like sitting down, having discussions, whether it's just you and a friend or you and 5 friends or you and a random stranger that you've never met before, I feel like that can also give you an insight, you understand, and give you perspective of how people are thinking and how people act and how people behave. I'm a big fan of sitting in a coffee shop and just on my laptop and I might have a random conversation with whoever sitting next to me. It's something that I practice. When I'm walking down the street in the morning, especially when I go for a run, I practice saying good morning. You know what I mean? And it's exciting to me to see how someone just literally, they're shocked at first and they say good morning back and they just start smiling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the way people need to act. We're in a community, we need to show love, we need to have conversations, try to understand people's perspective, show a bit more empathy, sympathy, and ultimately, bro, that's how we're going to get better as a society. Like, ultimately.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think most of what we discuss comes back to the ego.
The ego, dangerous.
Dangerous. This illusion, this false construction, mental construction of the self, of me, of what I need, of that I matter, of that my name and that why I'm on. This is sort of related to like your pride and about your needs becoming priority and therefore, which is unfortunately, it depends on how you look at it, but you have to have the ego in order to operate as a human being.
The ego is necessary, bro.
The ego is necessary, but it's like a wild beast that has to be tamed.
That's the thing about life, though. That's the thing about fucking the world. The world is a fire, bro. Everything's burning. Everything's getting destroyed every single day. Do you know what I mean? We have to learn to tame this beast, bro. That's ultimately what we're here to do. We've got this inner monster that we all have, especially as men. Do you know what I mean? We have this inner flame, this inner fire. We have to learn how to use it in a productive way, in a prosperous way. A fire, you look at it, it can burn your hand, but we use to cook. You know what I mean? So everything's got a negative and a positive. It depends how we look at it and what we draw from it. And then by looking at it, analysing, we can then in turn understand it more and then move forward. When it comes to the ego, I feel like the ego is very important, extremely important. Without the ego, I feel like a lot of things in this world wouldn't get done. Because first you have to believe before you achieve. And the ego, I believe, is responsible for a lot of that energy that we harness when we want to do something. Because first, for you to start going to the gym, you need to build up your ego in private. You need to look in the mirror, look at yourself. Yeah, I'm strong. Like, yeah, but I need to get stronger. You know what I mean? Yeah, I look good, but I need to look better. You go to the gym, you pump, you're in the mirror, you're staring at yourself, you're looking at the muscles grow, you're getting excited. Imagine you weren't getting excited. Imagine you wasn't almost turned on at what you're looking at. You wouldn't come back to the gym, bro.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Same thing, say you're a rapper or an actor. You have to believe you're good at what you're doing to go out there to give your full performance. You have to be sort of egotistical. So the ego has its positives, but it also has its negatives. And I believe the negatives deprive from the area where we get a bit deluded. As human beings, we're easily deluded.
Yeah, I don't think the ego is rational.
Definitely not. But
Oh,
do you think
definitely
human
not
beings are
rational.
rational?
I think they have the capacity for reason, but that intrinsically we're very susceptible and prone to a multitude of cognitive errors and irrational behavior and irrational thought.
All day long. Most people know what's good for them, but half of us, not even half of us, 1 out of 10 do what's good. There's a study done on prescription drugs. So what happened was, the study was about prescription drugs. It was about how many people carried out a prescription for the amount of time allocated in order to see results, right? So out of 100 people, everyone got the same prescriptions, but only 50% started the prescription and only 10-15% finished the prescription. There's a similar study done with the same people demographic, etc., and they prescribed drug for the participants' pets, right? Some had dogs, some had cats, XYZ. And would you believe every single person out of the study, they got the prescription, yeah, and they completed it when it was for the dog's health or the cat's health or for whatever it was. You understand? That was shocking to me. That was mind-blowing to me. It almost shows us that human beings care more about others than themselves. So the ego is there. But 9 times out of 10, bro, the ego is very tainted. It's not what we believe it is. You know what I mean? Because if you really love yourself, yeah, and someone tells you, listen, take these tablets for 14 days, it's going to dramatically improve your health, you'll be back to normal. And then you only take it for 5 days. What's that, 1/3 of the time? Do you really love yourself? Are you someone that really loves yourself? It comes to the dog now, your pet. You know how in England, especially flipping English people, they fucking love their pets. Like, they will literally die for their pets, especially their dogs or cats. They'll literally die for their dogs or cats. These people literally love their dog or their cat more than themselves. That's what I draw from that study.
No, but yeah, you draw that from the study, but what you haven't drawn or maybe not thought about or investigated is, why is that the case?
Why is that the case?
Yeah.
Why is that, bro? That's a good question. I think a lot of people suffer from a lack of self-love, self-understanding and self-care. And I think it's I'm blown. I literally don't have an answer for that question. I don't have an answer. Why is that? What do you think that is?
Yeah, you did mention some stuff there about just the self-trouble in the self and self-guilt, self-hate, self-shame. It's crazy because if you used to treat someone else the way you treat yourself sometimes, you'd have burned that bridge a long time ago.
A long time ago, bro.
But with yourself, you seem to let so many things slide.
So, bro, do you know how much we lie to ourselves? Do you know how many promises we break to ourselves? I'm going to get up at this time tomorrow and go to the gym. I'm going to not eat this anymore. I'm going to start eating this. I'm going to make this phone call. Do you know how many... Imagine you had a friend that lied to you as much as you lied to yourself. What would you think of that guy or that person?
there would be nothing for me to think because already at the beginning I would have told the guy, you know, sorry, mate, I'm off.
I'm off.
I'm off.
So it's crazy when you think of it, because it's almost like we want the best for ourselves and we try to do the best for ourselves, but there's almost a disparity from what we want to what we actually achieve. Because I'm sure everyone wants good. I'm literally almost 100% positive. Everyone wants to live a long life. Everyone wants to be healthy in their old age. Everyone wants to be wealthy to a certain level where they can provide for themselves adequately and their family. I'm pretty sure everyone wants to travel, see the world. I'm pretty sure everyone wants to do all these.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, let's say I'm 90% sure.
No. I'm not even sure that the fact that listen. I'm not even sure that the people who purportedly say they want those things, they actually truly want those things, bro. Because how do you separate it's impossible to separate the human being from the particular time and place in which he existed, right?
100%.
And you can't then, there are obviously genetic stuff and stuff you're ingrained and born with, but you can't deny just the sheer power and influence and potency of the environment you're surrounded by.
100%.
Bro. Because
100%.
You know what I mean, bro? It's just bro, it's like the inverse effect. You have to do so much to go against the grain and figure out what you really want and try as hard as possible to push aside all the sensory information that's being fed into your brain on a daily, continuous, incessant basis about what things are most valuable, about what things are most worthy and most noble. And you maybe will begin to internalize those through years and consistent, continuous conditioning. And now you think you want, I don't know, to travel to like 30 countries or to have a certain station in society,
certain status,
or to have a certain amount. I don't think
is that really what you want? Do you know what I think?
By the way, it could be. Do
you know what I think what we really want?
What?
I think human beings just really want to be free from pain, free from anguish.
Impossible. That's impossible.
I think that's what we really want to be, bro.
That's impossible.
I don't think we really want to be happy 24/7s. I don't think we really want to be in a depressive state. But I also believe that we just want to be free from pain. I'll tell you why I believe this, yeah? Because, bro, if you're happy 24/7s, you're borderline psychotic. Like, if I saw someone happy 24/7, happy at every given second of the day, at every given task or every given problem, I'm going to think there's something wrong. And if I see the latter, someone who's always moping around, depressed, head down, shoulders hanging, walking with no motivation, no energy, I'm going to think something's fucking wrong. Do you know what I mean? So I believe being in the middle is the best place to be. Being able to experience emotions, experience feelings, and not get stuck in those trances. I think that's what we really want. I think what we really want is emotional control, first thing. That's what I think we really, really want as human beings. We want to be able to be calm, chilled. I'm happy when I'm chilled. I could be doing a hard task. If I'm chilled, the task, time flies.
Yeah, but the difficult task, in my belief, is to be able to maintain that composure, that inner peace,
but how
and
do you think you maintain
equanimity.
that?
No, I think the difficult task is to maintain that even when adversity strikes, because it's all well and good saying I'm chilled, I'm content, I'm in a peaceful, but if nothing's really catastrophic has struck you or fate hasn't twisted you, a very unfortunate event or situation, it's too easy to say that. Let that thing happen, and then if you can maintain it, then I'll be like, this individual is actually strong and internally powerful.
So you're saying, as human beings, we should push ourselves to the limits in all aspects of life. Not just in all aspects of life. We should go outside of our boundaries, leave the little box, the little cave, the little castle that we've built, and go and explore as much as we can. Is that what you're telling me? Go through as much pain, as much suffering, try as much things, fail as much as we can.
If that's what you want to do, that's up to you. But that's not my point. My point is that the world is so unpredictable.
Yeah, of course.
So multifaceted and multivaried,
yeah.
That there's an infinite number of permutations and situations and happenings that can occur in your life, in your existence.
Of course.
And you can never be prepared for all of these different infinite outcomes. But what you can do is sort of prime your brain or prime your mental state to be, you know,
To be tough.
that
Yeah,
bracing,
of course.
like, let's do it.
Have you
That's
heard,
the challenge to life.
Have you heard that saying, stay ready so you never have to get ready? I'm sure you've heard that. It's a famous
I've never
saying.
actually heard that.
You
No.
never heard that saying?
Never ever heard that. No.
You know where I heard that saying from? I heard it from my gym partner. One of my old gym partners. He used to always say, yeah, you got to stay ready, you got to get ready. But I know that saying is from somewhere else. It's not his saying, because I've heard it prior. I just can't remember exactly where I've heard it. But when he said it, it really stuck in my head. It really stuck in my fucking mind. And so applying that to life, you know, your mind, you need to keep your mind ready 24/7. Like, life is practice. You have to practice. You have to practice and design and create life every single day. You understand? Routine. Your body needs a routine. Your body needs to be sustained. Your mind needs a routine. Your mind needs to be sustained. We have systems within our bodies that have an automatic routine. Digestion, for example. Yeah? That's 24/7's working.
Do you think our ancestors had routine?
Bro, they needed routine. What I think we need is, we need routine that changes every maybe year, 2 years, because that's ultimately how you grow. And I can apply that to anything. You start in school, you're in year 1. You spend 1 year learning everything on that base grade. Next year, you go to a higher level, you go to year 2. So you're stretching your mind. The muscle, which is the mind, is now growing, yeah, by putting it through more work. So that's ultimately how we need to live our lives. Every single day you need to get up. You need to make sure you're eating the right foods. You're training, exercising your body, so your physical form is fit for any eventualities. You understand? If you're fit and something, I don't know, you get hit by a car, you've got more chance of surviving than someone who isn't fit, someone who's unfit. You know what I'm trying to say to you? Say, get into a brawl, someone tries to rob your phone or tries to stick you up or something. If you're in good shape, you're going to have more confidence. You're going to be more assertive. You're not going to just stand there and get robbed. You're going to be, you know what I mean? You're going to have more faith in your strength, because you know what you can do. You know how strong you are. You know what I mean? So, health, now your mind is very important. You need to keep a sharp mind, and make sure you read every day. Make sure you listen to something that's going to extend your thinking, listen to new ideas. Do you know what I mean? And by doing these little things every day, you stay ready, so when anything pops up, you don't have to get ready. You can just react in a situation. A boxer spends the whole year training just for that one fight. That one fight lasts what? Fucking an hour? So these moments in life that we're getting ready for, they only come around and they only last sometimes 5 seconds, 10 seconds, a minute, an hour. But in preparation, we can always be ready and make sure when that moment comes, we can grasp it and squeeze every single fucking juice opportunity out of it. So as human beings, we don't really have to go too far to get what we need to get out of life. You ain't got to go too far. You just got to look within. Literally. And I believe by looking within, spending time with yourself, learning your likes, your dislikes, understanding your body, how it works, what it needs, understanding your mind, how it works, what it needs, and incorporating these things into your daily routine, you're going to be ready for anything, bro. You're going to be ready for anything. You understand what I'm trying to say to you? Because why? Your perspective is so broad. You have so much perspective. How did this guy react when how did this guy react when his family died? You read about it, you watched the movie about it, you watched the podcast about it. How did this guy react when he lost all his money back to zero? What did he do? You read a podcast, you heard a podcast about it, read a book about it, watched a movie about it, so now you've got more perspective. You've got more information. So when that moment comes up when, I don't know, God forbid, something happens to a family relative or family member, you've got so much perspective of how to react. You can almost have, not almost, you will have more control of how you react. You understand? Someone who sees death on a regular basis, they see death one more time, their reaction is going to be, it's going to be numb. they're going to be numb to it. They've seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah,
It's
but what
nothing.
about adaptation?
Adaptation? How do you adapt? How do we adapt?
Well, I mean, it depends. We have to make that question. We have to narrow it down because
How do you adapt to lifting a certain weight in the gym? You lift it more and more and more, right?
no, that's not what I mean. I'm saying like you can say you can prepare and train your body or mind for any situation, and by habituating yourself to certain experiences or facts or situations, then you're prepared for them when they come
You're
in the
more
future.
prepared, not prepared.
You're more prepared, but
prepared.
there's also situations that strike you that you're completely unprepared for and that were completely what's the word? You couldn't legislate for them.
Bro, listen.
So for those situations, I don't think it's where preparation comes in. I think this at this particular instance, it will be sheer mental strength and power.
Yeah,
And
of course.
that's really what demonstrates your inner strength, bro.
Well, where
It's the
does your
fact that you're
mental
so
strength-
unprepared, but you were adapted to that situation and you were able to,
I hear you, bro. But
persevere, prevail.
I get what you're saying, but what you just said kind of added to my point. I feel like you're literally just adding to what
I am
said.
adding to your point.
Yeah.
Yeah. What makes you? What else did you think?
No,
this
no.
was?
For a second, I thought he was contradicting me, but then, and I realized just added to my point. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
But your mind, through preparation, your mind gets stronger. Through preparation, your body gets stronger. So having a strong man and a strong body enables you to deal with more situations than someone else who doesn't. So you're 100% right. We can't ever be fully prepared, bro. We can't be, but we can be more prepared. And why can we never be fully prepared? Because every situation is new and different. So therefore, no one's never done it before in that particular way. So you can't be fully prepared for something that's completely new. It's new, bro. I'm going to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
But I can be more prepared than someone else. Because in this world, not everything is completely and utterly different. Like, some things are literally a tiny bit different, but that tiny little bit difference can cause a major effect, like the butterfly effect. But still,
Wait. The butterfly effect.
yeah,
I've heard of this before, but remind me exactly what it entails because I can't remember.
the butterfly effect. It's basically a butterfly flaps its little tiny wings, yeah, and that little flap, the vibration that it sends, can fucking ultimately cause a windstorm in Brazil. That's the butterfly effect.
How?
That's the butterfly effect, bro. It's just it's energy, right? It's just how things.
No.
ultimately-
How did we just go from the flapping of the wings of
Yeah.
a small little mundane butterfly in the middle of some obscure nowhere
Literally.
to a windstorm in Brazil?
Crazy.
No. I'm asking.
It's crazy. I know. I
You do believe in this theory?
I believe in this theory.
Yeah.
I've heard it so many times, yeah. I've never actually dived into it and analysed it, dissect it for its fucking parts and truths. But when I hear it, it makes sense. Like,
Wait,
let's say things...
let me look in. Sorry. Carry on. I'm just quickly looking up what exactly.
Butterfly
is.
effect, yeah. Get the actual definition, because I think mine was a bit vague.
Okay, so it's something in chaos theory. The butterfly effect is the sensitive dependence on initial conditions in which a small change in one state of a deterministic nonlinear system can result in large differences in a later state. The term is closely associated with the work of mathematician and meteorologist Edward Norton Lawrence. So yeah, as you described with the Brazil windstorm situation.
Yeah.
So there's like a series or a chain of causes and effects and reactions that in a non-linear way, actually, it's not really a chain. It's just like
It's almost random.
it's like
It's almost random,
it's in
controlled chaos.
It's in chaos theory, like, but
It sounds like,
this is unbelievable.
you know,
bro.
it sounds like, have you seen them cartoons when there's someone running down a mountain full of snow and a tiny snowball just literally rolls until it forms into a massive fucking boulder of snow of destruction and chaos.
Avalanche.
That avalanche. That's what it sounds like. Or it sounds like
But
yeah,
that sounds linear though.
I mean, it sounds linear, but don't you? It has to. I mean, everything has to be linear ultimately, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, It's a chain of reaction, isn't it? It's a chain.
Interesting. It's a very interesting theory.
It's an interesting theory. I like it. I think it sounds really, really solid because you can see it in the physical world. You can see it. You can look at it. You can watch it. You can watch it unfold in front of your eyes. Like, we ain't gonna speak about it metaphorically, or we ain't gonna flipping talk about it in terms of politics or the chaos theory or whatever. We can just literally see it happening in reality.
Bro, I think it's something that speaks or attests to the vastly complex interdependence of the universe, bro.
Oh, bro, everything is flipping connected. Everything's one. Everything's literally one.
No, but at face value, it sounds absurd to say, because like when you say everything is one,
Yeah.
and yet everything we experience is contrary to that and counteracts that.
I know.
And then you say everything is one.
Because everything
like,
is-
it just sounds
everything-
like a spiritual thing, bro.
I mean, it is a spiritual thing, but you can always, bro, it's 12 laws of the universe, bro.
12 laws of the universe.
Yeah, we heard about 12 laws of the
Who
universe.
created these 12 laws of the universe?
To be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure who created the 12 laws of the universe, but yeah, there's 12
What
laws.
are they? Let's hear them.
All right, cool. Let me just get up on Google so I can give you them in order. But they're very interesting. Very, very interesting.
And how does this relate to the universe being one?
Okay, because ultimately everything stems from one energy. You understand?
How do I know that's just not another theory, bro?
Listen.
How is it? Is that
Because-
the truth with a
because-
capital T?
Because hear this now.
Capital T.
It's the truth with two capital T's, bro.
Wait,
Yeah?
how can you have two capital T? Oh,
Because truth has there's two T's in truth.
Yeah,
This-
but you don't put a capital letter on the next
what we're
letter.
gonna
This is the first
what
letter.
we're
of the
gonna
word.
put two capital T's in this motherfucker because this is the fucking truth. Yeah,
Like it's a double
it's
truth.
the truth, my nigga. Yeah.
Go on.
So so the first even if you're religious, for example, right? Even if you're religious, you believe in God. God is one. Yeah, and everything came from one. Right? Everything came from God. So it's the same thing.
It's not.
The
I
same
don't
thing.
think so.
It's similar spiritually. Why is it similar? Because I think the word God and the term energy is just the same. It's two different words describing the same things. Because ultimately, the way a spiritual person describes energy is the same way a religious person describes God.
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. I do.
So-
that is one of the. I think there was a medieval Islamic philosopher called Ibn al-Arabi who proposed this idea or this hypothesis of God being. See, I think he said, and he's a Muslim. If I didn't mention, yeah, Muslim scholar, and he said that God is, at the same time, God is one, and God is everything, and God is one. Like he said, like the way he explained it is very similar in this kind of spiritual wording.
Yeah.
The way he understands it. So there are different conceptions of God. Some people believe like God is sat on his throne physically, not in a metaphorical sense. See, the concept of God is very difficult to grasp for
Yeah,
the
it's
human
very-
being, bro.
Well, because we all
That's why
look at
there's
it
differences
differently.
on it.
We've all got different perspectives.
But you're saying with a capital T, with the truth that the God is one and that everything is one.
Yeah, so let's go
But-
through the
go on,
laws
go
of
on.
the universe,
Go
yeah?
on,
There's
go on.
12 of them.
Go on.
So these laws, they're derived from ancient cultures. We're talking the Mayans, the Egyptians, yeah? The Kemites. Ancient
They all
culture.
believe the same thing.
It's not even about a belief. It's an eccentric, it's a feeling. It's almost like a programming that's been put into us by the creator or whatever that has put us here. You understand? And obviously, back in those days, they had different sciences and different ways of understanding the universe and different perspectives on how they looked at life.
Different mythologies.
Yeah, they had different goals. Right, let's put it that way. Different civilization, different goals. So the 12 laws that they describe, the first one being the law of divine oneness, bro. That's the law of divine oneness. Cut it short, everything is one. Yeah, and there's a little
How did they
description.
come to that conclusion?
Listen, I weren't there. So I can't.
No, how do you think they came to that conclusion? Because you
As
believe,
I said, it's
because you're saying that,
it's a feeling we have. It's almost a feeling that we have.
but how? Because everything we experience is contrary to that. Everything is separate and unconnected and not really, everything seems distinct, like this human being, that human being, that's a tree, that's a car, that's a building.
Because that's how, as human beings, we experience the world, bro. That's how we experience the world. We have to put things in categories. Our brain works like that. We have to separate things to understand it. We separate good from bad to understand it, to understand the situation. But ultimately, it's just a situation. For example,
that you're breaking down into parts, but that in reality they're all parts of one actual.
You get it, bro.
No, I do get it, but I'm trying to dissect it right now. I don't understand how those.
We're chopping it up right now. Yeah. So let's say you're crossing the road. We're both crossing the same road right now, yeah? And a bus literally just missed us. Just missed us by a fraction, yeah? And you're like, oh my God, like, thank you, God. You saved my life. Oh my God, I'm so lucky. And I'm like, oh, fuck that bus driver. I'm chasing the bus down, trying to fucking grab him and beat him up. I'm so angry. Like, he nearly killed me. I'm looking at that situation negatively. You're looking at it in a positive way. Ultimately, it's just a situation. But we both see it differently. You understand? So when you look at things like that, you can see, like, it's the human brain that dissects the world. It's the human brain that puts things in category. Because we have to. Because how else would we know what to do with things? How would we know how to make?
Yeah, but that's not truth with a capital T.
I'm going to go with a truth.
It's a truth, but not with a capital T. No.
I'm going to run it up with capital T's.
No, not this one. You're saying the truth is that everything is one.
Yeah.
With a capital T.
Two capital T's.
Two capital T's.
Yeah.
But the very fact that we're dissecting things and, you know, breaking them down in order to understand them and maneuver and function in the world, that's also true, but not capital truth in the sense that this is the truth. Do you understand?
Because so you're telling me we're not dissecting things to understand.
No, we are, and that's a fact. But it's not a capital T, because when we say capital T, we're saying this is the truth. There's a difference there, bro. You're saying the truth is that everything is ultimately one, 100%. Regardless of human experience, 100%. Regardless of what happened, regardless of the past, but the very fact of us dissecting things, it just so happens to be the way that we interact with the universe. Yeah, that's not a capital T. That's just the way it is.
No, that has to be the truth, bro. Because what else would it be? Because it's a fact.
But no, do you know why it's not?
Why is it not a fact?
Because there's like these Buddhist monks or something, these recluses that meditate 24/7 and they don't experience the world that way. Or like, for example, when you're on a psychedelic trip, you don't experience everything separate.
Because your sensory perception is completely different.
Exactly. There's variation in that, but there's no variation in the fact that everything is one. Because it's either everything is one or it's not. That's why it's a capital T. Whereas in the other one, there's variation in perception. It's not the only way to experience the universe.
Okay.
Do you understand?
But this I'm trying to say. The reason why it is the capital T is because we're speaking outside of our perception here. We're speaking outside of our brain, trying to dissect and cut everything down and put into a little box. We're speaking outside of that. You understand? I'm not saying that we perceive everything to be one or we don't perceive everything to be one. I'm saying everything is one, regardless of the perception.
And that's why it's true for the capital T.
Yeah, that's why TT.
Yeah.
It's the pen.
We agree. It's
the pen.
We agree on that. Yeah. But anyway, that's the first law of the universe.
First law of the universe. There's a little.
That's quite a lot of laws. 12 laws. Then that's a lot of.
Bro,
what are these all capital T's and that?
We're gonna go through it. Let's decide together. All right. Yeah, why not? Let's team up on it.
Why not? Let's do it.
So the first one says the law of divine oneness. Everyone and everything is connected in the world we live in. Every thought, word, or action of ours will take effect on others. The butterfly effect. As everything and everyone is connected to each other subconsciously, we should start thinking about the good in others, and they will think about the good in you. That makes a lot of sense. If I treat you good, how are you going to treat me?
What's that got to do with divine oneness?
In Rastafari, you know what they say when they see another brother or another Rasta? They say I and I. That means I and I. There's no we. He's saluting his brother by saying, I'm looking at me. It's I and I. He's not saying you and me. It's I and I. because that's the fine understanding that we're all one ultimately, and ultimately we're all connected. If we focus on harness that energy, you will see it, bro. The human mind, we barely fucking use it. A lot of us leave our mind open to all kinds of attacks every single day. A lot of the time, you're never thinking about what you want to think about. Your mind is wondering about some fucking bullshit. But if you focus your mind on these things and test out these things and bond with people and connect with people, you will see this. You will see. You start finishing each other's sentences. Did you know if 5-6 women live in a house together for up to 4 or 5 months, never 4 or 5 months, 2-3 months, their menstrual cycle starts synchronizing, bro? How mad is that? What is that? And it synchronizes to the most dominant female in the house.
Well, guess what else
How mad
I
is
just
that?
thought of, bro?
Chat to me.
A couple, there's a psychology book I think I read it, is that a couple, when they like get together, get married or whatever, after like decades, 30, 40, 50 years,
Yeah.
if you look at their faces before and after, their faces begin to resemble each other.
How crazy is that?
Bro, it's unbelievable. Bro.
How mad is that, bro?
Unbelievable. That's about friendship as well. Like, that's why they say it's important to the people around you exert an influence on you and vice versa, because it's an exchange of energies, and then you begin to move in unison and have the same phrases and style of language and talking and habits and thought patterns and behaviors and etc. Because these things connect and gel together, and it's like a flock of birds. It's like
Flock of birds, bro. Flying in uniform.
yeah.
You see fish in the ocean. They swim in a uniform. These birds, they fly in formation, like they planned it.
It's crazy, bro.
It's like they planned it. So it shows you ultimately, bro, that everything is connected. You have to just open up your eyes and
Even when it's disconnected,
it's connected.
it's still connected.
Because why? Everything's a flipping
Because
cycle.
for there to be disconnection, there has to
There be
be the
connection.
element of connection. Yeah, that's the polarity thing that always comes up,
Come
bro.
on, bro.
That's
And
the
these,
polarity thing that
and
always
this,
comes up.
this brings us back to the second law now, yeah? Second law says the law of energy or vibration. In science, they say everything's constantly vibrating. We're vibrating right now. Our cells are vibrating, but we can't feel it or see it because it's tiny micro vibration. So everything's constantly moving. Nothing is still. So yeah, there's a local example upon that one there. Let's read it out. Everything in the universe moves in a circular manner. Even conversations move in circular manners, bro. If we talk for long enough, we will ultimately start going around in circles.
I don't think so, bro.
Yeah, we start coming back to infinite regress. We'll have to call it infinite regress on a lot of points. If you look in science or theories, yeah, if you really start dissecting it and looking at it, yeah, you almost come back to the same point.
No, that's good circular reasoning. I don't believe that to be the case, bro, because otherwise you'd never make a point, because every time you made a point,
Yeah.
you'll just be backing up your point by using the same point.
Hear this.
That doesn't make sense, bro.
Hear this, yeah.
That's just reiterating the point twice and maybe in slightly different terms. It's not correct way of reasoning, in my opinion. Not in my opinion. It's just in the laws of logic. You can't reason like
in
that.
the laws of logic.
Yeah.
Let's not bring logic into this conversation, bro.
Why not?
Because it's
Logic is a.
it's something that I've got. Let's just carry on with the laws of the universe. Come back to that point in a second.
Yeah.
So back to the little description they have here. Everything in the universe moves in a circular manner, not only in physical world, but our thoughts and desires to move in a unique vibration frequency. Each thought and feeling has its own unique vibration pattern, and it will combine with those which possess identical vibration patterns. Our thoughts are connected to the rest of the universe. If you choose to have more good thoughts, more good will follow through. And that's so true, because you hear like these motivational speakers and these people, they're always, never just people, just like even psychologists, they talk about creating a positive mind, and you start seeing and receiving more positive in the world.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
Is there
That
time
comes
that you've
back to your-
experienced that?
No, because I read about this stuff from Jordan Peterson and others,
Oh, I love Jordan Peterson.
and he sort of reiterated that point that the situation you're in, it depends on how you're perceiving it.
Perception.
It's not the situation itself, because
Perception.
you can never be disconnected from the situation and view it objectively, because you're always viewing it from the first person subjective consciousness.
Yeah.
And
That's our only viewpoint ultimately.
this is our only viewpoint, and even what you value determines what you see.
100%.
You understand? So values and perception and your faculties of perception are very important, bro, in this regard.
The most important thing is the base of perception.
Most important is to be aware of them.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why we need to use our fucking mind more. This is why it's important to exercise the mind. This is why it's very important to understand what your core values are, understand what you want in the world, understand who you are, because ultimately that's what you're going to be seeing and going to be receiving. If you're out here lost and not knowing what you want, not knowing where you're going, you're going to ultimately end up anywhere. And most likely it's going to be somewhere where you don't want to flipping be. So it's important, bro, to exercise the mind and develop different perceptions, develop core values, as you said. Core values is very important. Have you ever thought about a car and then suddenly you start seeing it everywhere? Has ever happened to you? Or you start, maybe you wanted a pair of trainers and you're thinking to buy them and you start seeing them on everyone's foot.
Or for example, let's say you are a business-minded person, or no, before you weren't business-minded, then suddenly you started getting into business and reading about it, and maybe you started the business yourself, and now every time maybe you walk into a restaurant or you drive past a building or this, that, whereas before you'd have just seen it as a consumer, as someone, hey, this is whatever, just not really giving it much attention or thought. Now you're like,
how much are they making?
How much are they making? Where did they get their supply from? What are the profit margins like?
How much are they paying their workers?
What kind of area is this? What's the location? What's the dynamic? What's this industry like? This, that. You think about it in a different way and you perceive it differently.
Your mind completely opens.
So, it's crazy, bro.
That's why it's so important to read, educate yourself. Because ultimately that's what's going to give you your core values and your and that's going to create a perception of what reality is. If you're constantly flipping on Instagram, scrolling through big booty bitches, that's what you're going to be thinking about. But however, if you follow motivational pages, follow business pages, and that's what you're scrolling through, when you step outside and look in reality, you're going to be looking at things completely different. You're going to walk into Tesco's and think, all right, cool, this is on sale. Maybe I can buy 10 of these and sell it on fucking Amazon. Maybe I can buy 20 of these and sell it on eBay.
Yeah.
Because your brain is ticking differently. Yeah. You're not thinking, it's on sale, let me buy 5, put it in my cupboard so I can have it for like 2 months. You're not thinking that anymore. You're thinking, how can I produce, not how can I consume?
Yeah.
And that's where the mindset shifts begins, from a consumer to a producer.
Yeah. There's a reciprocal relationship as well between your actions, your behavior, and your thinking and your mental state, your ideas.
Bro.
They play into each other, and it gets to a point where your action, your behavior is where your ideas and mental state are playing out. And that's how I really get to know what you think through what you do.
100%.
It's mad, bro.
Because ultimately, I mean, there's 100,000 thoughts running through our minds every fucking second, bro.
And most of them are forgotten, and it's not
just nothing.
Yeah.
So if you're not focused and really looking inwards, you're losing so much valuable, or so much of what could be valuable, free information. You understand? Take that, pop that, pull that, twist that, and then suddenly you've got a good idea. Suddenly you've connected something that's happening now to something that happened in the past, and suddenly you got clarity.
You know what that reminds me of? This idea by a philosopher called Soren Kierkegaard, if you heard of him.
No, I haven't. I'm not familiar with that.
He looks at a human being like this human being is infinite and finite at the same time. He's finite in the sense that he lives in the here and now, in the concrete, defined by his physical body and structure, etc., and his needs. And he's also infinite in the sense of what he can do, or what he can choose, or what his brain can conjure up, and the ideas that he can create and bring into existence.
See, that's beautiful, because that brings me to the third law of the universe.
Oh wow, I'm just connected them inadvertently. It's like beautiful coincidence.
I'm showing you, bro. And by the way, guys, our podcast, this is not planned. We didn't
Not even a
prepare
script.
anything.
Not
There's
even a
no
script.
script. It's just freestyling because, you know what I mean? This is what we do, just chat all day. We can be
No,
fucking-
we don't chat all day, bro.
Okay,
Yeah.
because there's a law of action, so we got to create. We're creating.
Exactly.
But it's good to sit down and speak things to existence and plan and conversate, get
Definitely.
ideas out into the open because
Definitely.
we live in the open, we live in the
Tell me
reality.
about law number 4.
Law number 3.
Oh, sorry, 3.
So it says, law number 3 is the law of action. Each action would provide a different result, which is mostly based on thoughts, words, dreams, or emotion. We must select our actions and solely support our thoughts, words, dreams, or emotions. And the actions we select must be supporting your thoughts and dreams, which will help you accomplish your goal. You know what I'm trying to say? That just ties up everything we're just saying.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's like a full stop to what we were saying.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
There's nothing more powerful than action, bro.
Bro, it's the most powerful thing, bro.
Honestly.
Inaction causes disease. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? Inaction causes flipping disease.
Not just biological, not just like diseases of the stomach or the heart or the blood.
No,
or
I
the
mean
blood.
like life-threatening disease. I'm talking not just life-threatening disease. I'm talking disease that can kill you in an instant.
Yeah.
If you don't move your arm enough, you know what happen? Your brain will shut off neuron connections to that arm, so that arm will get slower over time. It will get slower and weaker. If you completely stop using your arm, it will get stiff.
We're built for movement, bro.
We're built for
We're
movement.
built for movement.
Our mind is built for movement.
Yeah.
You can see it, you can feel it. We have so many thoughts. That's movement.
Yeah.
Law of the universe, movement.
Movement. Things move. Things are never static.
Never static. So the fourth law now, this is just so perfect. Law of correspondence.
Go on.
Yeah. Bro, we've exhibited all these laws in our conversation today.
How so?
For example,
What's the correspondence one?
law of correspondence says this law states, that we are in control of our life. Every action we make will be reflected in our outer world to our inner world.
Yeah, so that's the reciprocal relationship between the external and the internal.
Understand? So
It's a good way to look at it, but remember, this is also a mode of perception as well.
bro.
I wouldn't say this is a law of the universe, bro. Think about what you're saying when you say the universe.
Do you know what
bro.
laws are? Laws are things that govern a state. You understand?
There's different ways. Law can be metaphorical as well, bro.
But we shouldn't use laws as metaphors because it doesn't. I mean, we shouldn't really use laws.
No,
as
because
metaphors.
law has multiple definitions, bro. You could say the law as in the law in a constitution.
Yeah.
That you can't break the law, the police will arrest you.
Yeah, these
You could
laws,
say the law as in natural, physical laws, like the law of gravity, for example. But when you say, but even with that,
but all these
you
laws.
can't prove that a law
Yeah.
is timeless and exists at all time and all places. Yeah, that's what you're saying essentially when you say it's a universal law.
Yeah, of
Or you
course.
could say it's an observable regularity so far, tentatively, not for sure, not for precise. You can never be so sure of that. So I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with these laws. Actually, there's definitely plenty of truth in them. But to call them universal laws, I would say that's a step too far, bro.
100%.
If you want to...
100%.
Go on.
Because I know you, I know the way your mind works.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave you with that. You can have that.
I'd love to have that.
No,
bro.
you can completely have that.
I'll have that.
But I'm gonna say we can't. We can't live in this world without having some things and holding some things and keeping them as facts to ourselves. Because otherwise, we would just be fucking floating around just in the air.
No, not true.
The reason why I say that's because, bro, if you don't really believe you have to do something, 9 times out of 10 you won't do it. If you don't have that belief,
I can't trick myself. Can you trick yourself? Can you lie to yourself? You know the same way you'd lie to someone else and you
Yeah.
could actually convince them that something other than the truth is the truth to them, yeah? That's actually a lie.
Yeah.
Can you do that to yourself?
you can. I'll tell you how you can. Jordan Peterson talks about this. I was watching not a podcast, it was just a speech that he done, and it was just like a little clip on YouTube, and he was talking about lying to yourselves. You understand? He was talking about the importance of always being truthful, the importance of telling the truth, because your brain and your perception is so easily blurred and easily changed. You wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe how many things you believe right now that aren't really your beliefs and just something that you've heard from somewhere else and you just held it dear to your fucking heart without ever testing it. You understand? So it's like, if you're someone who lies constantly to the outer world, repeatedly, because remember, when you tell one lie to someone, you've got to keep repeating that lie over and over again. And we know the mind works very well through repetition. So the more you say something, the more you lie about something, yeah, it's the more your brain is getting programmed to believe it. And ultimately, you will start believing it, bro. If you look at Kanye West, for example, yeah, he's a prime example. I watched The Genius the other day. This guy, before he was famous, believed he was the greatest rapper, greatest artist, greatest musician ever alive. He was speaking it before anyone even knew who this guy was.
Fake it till you make it.
Look at him now.
Bro, I'm sure there's plenty of people that have done exactly the same thing.
So you can lie to yourself. You can. That's basically lying to yourself if you want to say it like that. You're telling yourself.
No, but you're telling me Kanye West didn't know that he was actually lying to himself.
Bro, if you think you're lying to yourself or there's a little incy-wincy doubt, I don't think it's going to happen in reality.
That's the ego then. That's back to the ego we spoke about in the beginning.
Back to the ego.
Is that the ego, bro? That's connected to the ego.
That's why I'm trying to say the ego is important. Because we need to have belief, bro. We need to have belief.
But if you're aware
Without
of your
belief, you're not going to achieve much.
Different. Belief is... Bro, but belief
you need to create a picture of who you want to be in order to have that out in reality, bro.
That's true.
You need to create this monster, this person inside, or it will never come out to reality.
No, but listen, bro, remember, I agree with that, but the original point that I raised was that, look, we can extract the wisdom and the insight from these universal laws without actually believing that down to their core, they're actually universal, because philosophically speaking,
100%.
that is a stretch, bro.
No, I hear you.
And if we're so quick to take up these concepts and ingrain them in ourselves and believe them straight away wholeheartedly, what does that say about our mental faculties, bro?
I hear you, bro.
We're closing it off. We're not allowing any. These are the solid 10, 12 iron rules of the universe. These are irrevocable, irretrievable laws. These are the laws not to be questioned, incontrovertible. I get it, bro.
I'm not saying don't question it. We're sitting down right now questioning all these laws. I'm not saying don't question, don't speak about it. I'm saying you need to have certain things
that you call laws for practice.
That you call laws for practice. Or you call laws for guidance, or you call laws for navigation.
Let's call them principles, bro.
Even better, let's call them principles.
I prefer that word.
That's a better word.
I prefer that word.
That's a more eloquent word. It's much more suited to the situation as well.
Yeah. So tell me what principle number 5 is.
Yeah. We can call them principles, because myself, I don't even like the law.
Yeah.
I don't even like the law. Fuck the law. Yeah. So let's call them principles. I'm a man of principles. So let's call them principles.
Okay.
I like that.
Number 5.
Number 5, the law of cause and effect. Nothing ever happens by chance. It is each of our actions that create a reaction that is followed after. Butterfly effect again, isn't it? We can link that to the butterfly effect.
In a sense, the cause and effect thing, definitely.
It's mad because, like, when you really look at it, like the world is just so connected. We live in the Western world, right? People, chocolate. Let's talk about chocolate for a second. People love chocolate. So it's a luxury over here. It's a treat for some people. It's a regular snack for some, but ultimately it's a luxury, or it was a luxury. So we go to the shop, pay £1.50 for a bar Cadbury. We eat it, sit down, lovely, fantastic. But someone had to have grown those cocoa beans, farmed those cocoa beans, had to have picked those cocoa beans, left them to dry for however long, packed them, shipped them to a factory where they have had to be manufactured into chocolate, then into a chocolate bar, wrapped, delivered to the shop for you to have it in your hand. Do you know what I mean?
So it's a series of events. One thing leads to another.
Constantly.
It's the cause and effect,
Constantly.
For example, the earth had to exist beforehand at one point in order for us to even be here. It has to be the sun. It's not just cause and effect. It's cause and effect and interconnectedness. It's like
these principles.
There's cause and effect, but then there's also the retrospective effects of the effects on the cause, if that makes sense.
It's like a cycle, a linear cycle.
Yeah,
again.
I guess that goes back to the circular thing you
You know what I'm
mentioned
saying?
before. That's a different way to think about the circular
Yeah.
thing. Not logically, obviously, 'cause I know you're against logic and that.
I'm not
Yeah.
against logic. I just think it's also perception. What
Of
we
course,
call logic
no,
is a
I was just
perception.
joking. I was just taking a jab
I
at
know
you. You know what I
are.
mean? I like boxing.
I
took
dodged
a
it. I
jab.
dodged it anyway.
You did dodge it
dodged it.
successfully.
Nah, to be fair, skim my chin. I'll be real. Skim.
So what's number 6? Oh, and by the way, let's finish with number 6. I'd love to go through all of them, but I think we're running out of time. So
Damn.
we should definitely do number 6, and then we can continue the others on another episode. Go on.
We're at number 7, so even better.
Wait, I swear it was 5.
Nah, we
The
was at
cause and
6.
effect was 5, no?
No, of course. No, you're right. My
Number
guy.
6
my
now,
guy.
yeah.
Number
Don't
6,
just
yeah.
skip over these
No,
principles,
it was,
bro.
because earlier it was too fast, and I just thought it was too fast again. You know what I mean? But it was me this time.
Okay. Go on.
So law number 6, or principle number 6, the law of compensation. Fuck, that one that's funny. Comes after the law of cause and effect, where blessing has come into our lives through various forms, such as gifts, money, friendship, etc. So it's basically like an extension to the cause and effect. Everything happens because something caused it, and once that effect has happened, there's going to be more things similar happening to that effect, if you know what I mean.
In a way, yeah, but like...
Let's give an example. Is there an example here? Example, every action... No, not that one. You get what you give.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
You get what you give almost.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Especially in human relations. If we're talking socially,
Yeah.
the kind of energy you come with, that energy is kind of reciprocated. Do you know what I mean?
Like if someone smiles at you,
Yeah.
you almost automatically smile back.
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
Someone waves at you, you automatically wave back. You might think about it after,
Yeah.
but in the moment, you just, hello. You know what I mean?
That's definitely true, but it's not a useful or successful way of reading or understanding someone. Why? I learned this from Robert Greene, the guy who wrote the 48 Laws of Power.
Sorry, repeat yourself. I wasn't really following that train of thought. Sorry.
No, it's all right. Yeah, I'm saying that it's definitely true, but it's the exchange of the energy. But we have to remember, if we're trying to understand each other or read each other, it's not successful in that regard, because we're going to be exchanging energies. But if you want to get closer to someone's true essence and character,
Yeah.
see them when they're interacting with other people, different situations.
Yeah.
That's going to give you a more holistic, comprehensive grasp of what someone else is like.
I mean, 100%.
Do you understand?
But that's the power of the human being.
Because then that will be them exchanging their energies with different people.
Yeah, of course.
So
But
then-
that's why it's important to have your own energy as a person, so you can be almost the same with everybody else. You don't want to change your energy depending who's being how
You
they're
naturally
being.
do, though. You naturally do.
I know you naturally do, but you don't want to do that. That's something you don't want to do.
You should, bro. You shouldn't treat your mum the same way you treat a friend or a worker
You
or
should
colleague.
treat
or
everyone
something.
with respect and love.
Yeah, there's some things that are basically they're-
Everyone.
Yeah.
There isn't a whole other list of stuff that you need to add to that.
No, it's more
You treat-
complicated than that, bro.
Bro, that's the thing. We need to stop complicating things.
We should, though. No, sorry. We're not complicating them, but they're naturally complicated.
Human
Life
beings.
is a puzzle, bro.
It's a puzzle that
That's the whole reason we're sitting here talking. We're trying to dig into 0.001% of this puzzle.
100%, but at the same time, we should also try to simplify things and make it more applicable to reality.
Yeah, for our own sanity, bro.
For our own sanity, bro.
We need to stay sane,
We need
bro.
to stay sane. So sometimes you got to pick sense out of nonsense.
Yeah.
Just have to.
You have to. Yeah.
Because nonsense is too much. It's too much.
Definitely.
You got to pick sense out of it. So when it comes to treating other people and treating others, you should treat everyone with love and respect. We ain't got to add anything else to that equation. Love and respect. It covers so many things. If I love you and I respect you, how am I going to treat you at every given turn? I want to treat you like you're someone that I value, bro.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I value you. I want to treat you like you're someone that I
By
value.
the way, I do a lot of devil's advocate work here, so when I'm questioning or pointing things out, it doesn't necessarily mean I disagree with it or got an issue with it. It's just to uncover it and understand it and
we got to
dig
dig.
deeper a bit.
We've got to dig, bro.
I'm a digger. I'm a Bob the Builder.
We're here to dig, my guy.
Yeah.
I'm a gold digger. I like gold. I like to dig. We digging, baby.
And on that note, I think we'll wrap it up.
Wrap it.
That was very
Interesting. to say
fruitful,
the least.
productive, intellectually stimulating. We'll definitely need to continue it on another episode, go through these other principles of the universe.
Yeah, I like how you're just holding that so close to your chest.
Holding what?
Just not using the word laws. Just fuck the word laws.
Oh,
principles.
bro, I could be quite picky with language sometimes.
I mean, bro, you need to be because
you need to be sometimes.
you need to
picky
paint the
with
right
language.
picture.
Definitely.
Paint the right picture.
Definitely.
100%. I mean, our words are paintbrushes, right?
Exactly.
You gotta paint the right
Exactly.
picture.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, bro. On that note, thanks, bro. It was a great conversation.
No, definitely, bro.
No,
definitely.
I'm gonna stop calling these things conversation. I'm gonna start calling it mental exercise.
Yeah, it's a mental exercise
It's a
for
nice
sure.
bit of mental
for
cardio.
Sure. For sure.
Mental cardio. We're gonna call that
sure.
mental cardio.
For sure, bro. For sure.
Conversations are just talking about how's the weather. That's a conversation.
True,
Weather's nice outside. How's your mom? She's alright. She good? Yeah. Okay. Have a nice
Small
day.
talk.
Yeah, that's a conversation. We are mentally exercising, mentally stretching,
I'm mentally bench pressing right now.
mentally
bro.
squatting. Thanks, guys, for mentally squatting with us today.
Yeah.
Thanks for spotting us. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. So
Until next time, my brother.
until next time, everyone. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate it. Hopefully, see you on the future episodes. If you enjoyed listening to this, then please share the podcast, friends, family.
In fact,
subscribe to it.
sorry, bro.
download the
Don't even share it, bro. This is secret sauce. Keep this to yourself.
No.
Don't
Definitely
even-
share it. Definitely
Don't
share
even,
it.
don't even give this to
No,
nobody.
we
This
wanna
is
spread
secret
it.
sauce. This
No,
is
no.
these mental exercises here are gonna change your life.
Don't listen to him.
Change your life first.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him.
I joke. You like, share, subscribe, press that button,
Yeah.
press the other button
Yeah.
next to it, and yeah.
Social media will be on the description of the podcast. And if you want to contact me, just for any inquiries or anything, any comments, suggestions, it's all appreciated. It's triptoreality@gmail.com. And with that in mind, take care.